Hello, hello. I'm not Ray. This is Ray right here. I'm here to have a chat with Ray quickly in 15 minutes if we can cover a lot about humor to hustle. Because who knew memes have become part of our culture? Nightgag.com was out when memes were not even called memes. It was just called funny pictures, right? That was 16 years ago. So Ray, being you witnessed the whole rise of the power of memes, like why do you think and how do you see meme culture evolve, especially in this Web3 universe now?
Yeah, it's been a long time, right? But I believe that for memes, from something kind of like an online, in online forums, right, insider jokes, right, to become like a global phenomenon, I think it's been fascinating. I think for Web3, right now when people talk about meme, they usually just talk about meme coins, right? But they also talk about all these like funny pictures created by all these like communities, right? So we can see that Web3 and blockchain, basically, they help memes to tokenize. They help memes to financialize, right? They put a dollar sign, they put a value to all these memes, and it also kind of like incentivize all these people participating in all these like online communities.
I think it's a bit different from your traditional finance where we are almost creating some entertainment as well, right? At the same time. So how do you balance, entertainment and utility as a project owner, moving into this space?
Yeah, we got asked these questions all the time, right? Because,
Yeah.
what's the usage, right? Or what's the use of meme, right? What's the use of like meme coins? I think to be honest, right, for most people, especially people in Hong Kong and a lot of like developed cities, entertainment is actually a main part of the usage.
Yep.
Right? If you ask any high school students, right, how do they spend their time, right? They probably spend most of their times in entertainment,
Yeah.
kind of like quote unquote user stuff, right? And I think those are the things that why adults or older people, right, or mature people, they never understand the youth because they always think that, hey, when I try to create some products, it needs to be useful. But for the newer generation, the use is actually having fun.
Yeah.
Just like, why do people travel these days? It's not about business. It's because they want to see the world, they want to have fun, they want to see all kinds of like different like buildings and stuff like that. But after seeing it, is it really, really that useful? Not really, right? But most of the time, people enjoy doing that. I think that's kind of like how we see leisure, entertainment become a big part of usage, where people didn't think it is that important, but actually this drives the whole industry forward.
Yeah, the value is very different for a new generation of investors as well. Especially like content is also a flex sometimes, So when you talk about meme coins, is it just hype or is it here to stay? Because meme comes and go, right? Over the years, we have seen meme being really, really popular for 1 week. But is this going to be exactly like meme coin? Like, how is meme coin going to go?
We started Nightgag in 2008. That was earlier than Satoshi created Bitcoin, right? So I always joke that we have been sharing memes before Bitcoin, right? And people always already think that Bitcoin is very, very old already. To me, I really believe that as a category, meme is here to stay. Yeah, just like all these meme, right? They have like new contents coming out every single day, right? But as a category, it will continue to stay. To be honest, I can say that the market share and also the mind share of meme will continue to grow because the entry barrier is so low that anyone can become a meme creator, right? And we understand that, hey, if we have a lot of like good creators, then the proportion of good creators and good content will be also proportionally bigger. Just like, okay, how many talents, right? How many PhD are actually from China, right? Way more than in Hong Kong, right? Not because mainland Chinese is generally smarter. It's just because there are a bigger number, right? And I think that this is how meme can drive the change. And to be honest, a lot of people, they mentioned, meme is just hype.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the stuff in our real life is just hype. Like Labubu, right? People say that it's hype, but people also say that it's culture.
Here to stay,
it's also here to stay.
Right.
Hello Kitty, or even when I was younger, like all Dragon Balls, like One Piece, right? All these were hype. And if they can stay, then they become part of the culture.
Right.
Pokemon, right? When I was a kid, I thought it was a hype, right? It was a fad, right? But it becomes culture. right? And I think kids these days, they're still trading Pokemon cards. So I believe that for people who only think that they are hype, I don't think that they really understand what culture is. It's always from hype, from a niche group of people, and then it grows into the mass. And finally, when your mom started to use the poo-poo, right, then you know that this becomes like mainstream.
Yeah, when hype becomes a legend, right? So over the years, like, we all know community building is so important for a project owner, or especially in this space. So what sort of lessons did you would you give, or have you learned from like building this project?
People talk about community building in Web3 a lot.
Yeah.
Right? It's because most of the time you need a community, right, to actually buy your stuff, right, including like NFT, including your token. That's why they spend a lot of time building the community in Web3. Unlike in Web2, I think the relationship is more like consumer and also seller and buyer. For Web3, it's like seller, buyer, and also stakeholder. Right? That's why I think it makes like Web3 very interesting, right? Because a lot of people, they actually can participate in the ecosystem. And a lot of these projects, right, some of them are even called DAO, right? Like DAO is like decentralized, autonomous organization, right? They actually have rights to vote. I think all this kind of stuff has shifted the importance, right? From, okay, you only like one way, but right now it's like two way. I think that makes the whole thing actually more interactive.
Yeah.
Right? It's exactly the term like Web 1, Web 2, Web 3, right? Web 1 is only read, Web 2 is like read and write, Web 3 is like read, write and own. I think in Web 3, because of ownership, and then it incentivizes people to be more active. It makes people to take things more seriously. I think that's quite important in Web3. I think the biggest lesson learned is when building a community, you need to think about give before you take. I'm not saying that you only keep giving, right? But you have to give value to a community. That's why most of these projects, they have like so-called airdrops, right? They throw events before they ask you for money. Meanwhile, most of these like traditional brands, every time they have an event, basically they ask money from you. Right? So I believe that that changes the dynamics between the both parties, including the product builders and also the receivers. Yeah.
Yeah, like, so you talked about as a low barrier entry point for crypto, like going into meme coins. So maybe that's the first investment for a lot of people, right? So is it really a positive gateway, or is it going to be a misconception going into this space? Like, if that's the first step they take.
Yeah, we're building in the meme coin space. I mean, my meme coin space. Of course, I'm biased, right? That's why I would say that meme is very positive to the crypto space. Right? To be honest, right, if you ask someone on the street, they probably know Bitcoin. Yeah. Right? They may know like Trump. Yeah. Right? They may not even know Solana or like Ethereum, even though they are the two biggest chain, right, for in Web3. Right? So I believe that meme is actually a very, very important sector for crypto, for Web3. Yeah, I think a lot of the times people focus a lot on the so-called bad stuff of tokens, right? Just like a lot of the bad things are happening in our real world. Right? If you only look at the bad stuff, then it feels like this is the end of the world. Right. Just like if you only look at the bad things about meme coin, then you think that, okay, meme coin sucks, right? Meme coin is bad for the space. But to be honest, the biggest challenge for Web3 is never about the tech. Most of the time, it's more about, okay, why would I need this? Right? Yeah. For meme coin, it creates a new kind of dimension. Hey, it's fun, right? I can be part of the community. I can part of make this asset increase in value. I think this kind of stuff is actually something that's very, very easy for people to understand. And on the other hand, if you ask me, hey, what can move the adoption forward? Right? Most of the time, it's not technology. Yeah, because most people, they don't bother to learn new tech. Right? Meanwhile, if you tell me that, oh, Taylor Swift is launching some NFT, or like Justin Bieber is launching a token, right? Or Kanye West is launching a token, 100% of people will pay attention. Right. Yeah, and I believe that attention, will turn into trust, right? If the creators is willing to build. Right? So I believe that most of the time it's not the category issue, it's not the tokens problem. It's just the creator. They don't really believe in it. They only see this as an extraction event. I think the key here for us is how can we continue to build on one hand, but also educating the creator that, hey, if you just rug pull the project, right? This is like killing the golden egg, killing the chicken, killing the hen that can give the golden egg, right? And I believe that a lot of the newer generation of creators, they actually understand that.
Right. So entertainment is definitely part of this whole revolution. What sort of trends do you see in Web3 entertainment? Because I'm sure like there are some IPs that are developed more in animation into like a lot of other products as well. Like as a project owner or as a creator, what sort of trends do you see that leads the space?
I think there are like two, at least a few things that I see is already happening. Right? Number one is basically adopting blockchain technology without calling it like NFT or token. For example, Nintendo or Switch, they have something kind of like a digital collectibles, right? Basically, you can trade it. Yeah, and it feels very much like a blockchain NFT stuff, but they remove the very technical part, right? And I think that's one way. Basically, you adopt the tech without telling people this is the tech. Another thing is actually for the brands, they start to fully embrace it, right? For example, you can see that a lot of the traditional banks, right, they started to participate in all this like stablecoin issuing, right? And a lot of the brands, they actually have NFT as well. Because honestly, what is better than selling digital goods, right? Where you actually don't really have a stock issue, right? Just like most of the kids this day, right? They play computer games instead of playing like, I don't know, card games or whatever other games. Right? I'm not saying that all these traditional products, they don't work. I'm just saying that digital products, they have their own advantage because you can spread it very, very easily. You can buy it, you can trade it across the world very easily. I think a lot of these brands, they started to understand this power, especially, for example, in Hong Kong, when the government is promoting Web3 really, really hard, when the US government, right, they started to recognize a lot of these like meme coins and stuff, they're actually not securities. I believe that more creators, they started to get into the space, not just because for money, because in the past, they feel that, oh, even if I'm honest, right, when I launch something in Web3, maybe people will think that I'm a scammer. But right now, when the government give a better definition of what is good, what's bad, what's allowed, what's not allowed, I believe that more creators, they're willing to join the space. And I believe that is the next, I would say, paradigm shift of Web3 adoption.
Yeah, definitely. So if you have to sum up your vision for Web3 entertainment and meme culture, what's the one-liner?
That's a good question. In the US dollar bill, there's a saying called in God we trust.
We trust.
Right? I believe that is like in meme we trust.
Right.
Because to be honest, across all this like crypto, blockchain, Web3 stuff, I believe that the easiest like entrance, right, for people is meme or meme coin, right? I think to the extension. Yeah, so in meme we trust, right? But at the same time, we also have to make sure that we trust the right team, we trust the right people, and make sure that you understand the risks involved, right? Because just like any new tech, just like any investment, just like anything in life, right, there's risk involved, and we have to take our own responsibility.
Yeah, so meme is just the first step of education, and then it's not even like you have to still dig deeper into
100%. I believe that most people get into Web3 not because they have read the Bitcoin white paper, right, written by Satoshi, right? I think they got into Web3 because, Pokemon is launching something in Web3, or Donald Trump is launching a crypto token, right? I believe that most people, they like something because of superficial stuff.
Right.
But until they understand, behind the superficial stuff, there's actually something solid.
Yeah.
It's just like when you see a girl, when you see a guy, right? The moment that you see that guy, you get attracted, not because of his or her character, but because of the face or body or whatever, right? But at least it's not the inside character.
Right.
Yeah, but to be honest, right, whether you get married, whether you want to stay with them for a long time, I believe that, hey, you need some substance. And I truly believe that crypto, Web3, there is substance there.
Right. So what's within is the most important, that's for sure. Okay.
I think both are important. Yeah.
Okay, the last thing. What's up next for Memeland and for yourself? Like, what do you see, or if you have any alpha? I don't know, we have 47 seconds.
Yeah, for us, we started a company called NiGet like almost 17 years ago.
Yeah.
Right, we started a company called Memeland like 3 years ago. Right, we kind of understanding that the shift of social media from online forums to mass social media, and then we also kind of see Web3 from just NFT token, right, to a bigger adoption. Right, people talk about Bitcoin ETF these days. Right, the world that we always want to have is can we become the bridge of the old economy and also a new economy?
Yeah.
Right, and I believe that this is something that's very interesting, right, because with better regulations, right, with more media exposure, I think people will trust Web3 more, right? Right now, if we talk to people, oh, I'm building Web3, a lot of people, either they don't understand what you're building, or they think that you're a scammer, right? So I believe that our role is how can we become a trusted channel, a trusted company, a trusted entity in that.
Yeah.
That's why about like 2 months ago, we purchased a public company in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
It's listed in Hong Kong. It's totally regulated by the government, right? And then all this like account and stuff, they have to be audited, right? And we want to we want to build the first like virtual asset ecosystem venture in Asia. Right? And I believe that, hey, by doing that, we can become the trusted channel for the public. Yeah, because I believe for people who buy the first like crypto, it's very likely that it's not using a DEX, right? But probably because they use a channel that they believe in, right? And we want to be part of that channel,
right,
so that it's easier to talk to the government, right? Because hey, right now you are like a legit company, right? And then it's also easier to talk to the media, to talk to the public,
yeah,
and hopefully, right, by building trust there, we can continue to reinvest in Web3 and also bring all these like cool things in Web3 into Web2, so that people finally don't have to say Web2 or Web3, but actually just a big, like good, like open web. Yeah.
Yeah. So, in summary, in meme we trust. That's for
Yep.
sure. Remember that.
But also don't trust, verify.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Ray, and thank you for having us today.
Thank you.